Steve Mascord, and I'm coming to you from our beautiful studios, which is otherwise known as a lounge room in London. And this is the show where we give you a roundup of everything that's happening in rugby league. The date is the 14th of August, and it's a busy day for me because I'm off to Warrington this afternoon to be calling the action between the Wire and Catalans tonight, right here on rugbyleague.com. But big news in rugby league this morning is that Payne Haas has decided to switch allegiances from Australia to Samoa. So he won't be coming here in October to play in the Ashes. Instead, he'll be playing in the Pacific Champs for Samoa in the build-up to that World Cup next year, where I think especially Samoa, but also Tonga, believe they've got a realistic chance of winning. And some of the reaction back in Oz is predictable, and actually it's welcome, in my view. If people who just kind of want Australia to win are taking an interest in the Kangaroos and saying ban him from Origin, that means we've got the mainstream paying attention to our international scene in Australia. And recently, the only mainstream people in Australia who've paid attention have been people of Tongan and Samoan extraction and maybe some Kiwis living in Australia. The average general sports fan in Australia does not rate international rugby league. So the fact that some of them are saying he's a born and bred Aussie, he should be playing for Australia, banning from Origin. Bring it on. Bring it on. I think it's awesome. We need more people like that taking interest in our matches. So rather than try to explain to them the following facts, that there's fewer than 1,000 full-time professional rugby league players in the world, and last World Cup we got 16 international teams out of that 1,000, and obviously there wasn't enough. We had to put amateur players and part-time players around them. Next World Cup, we'll have probably 10 teams full of professionals. There'll be a few dozen part-timers. And so basically in our sport, what we do is we invent our own opposition, because according to these people, their definition of nationality, our next World Cup will be made up almost entirely, of people who they consider to be Aussies, Kiwis, and Poms. So those people can go away and watch sports with a better international dimension. But we can't. Rugby League can't go and watch something else. Rugby League has to do the best it can. So it's great now. The players are helping us with this endeavour to spread them around as many international teams as possible, so that we have a profitable international scene and that we can engage people we can't otherwise engage. The players are now on board because they can see the opportunity for success. Why is that opportunity there? Because we're small, because we're tiny, because we're restricted. The fact that you can be the number one team in the world almost within a few years, you can certainly go to number 2 or 3 simply by a handful of individuals deciding to switch teams. That's how small we are. A handful of individuals can decide to play for a team, and you can go to number 2 and potentially these players, including Payne Haas, clearly believe number 1. That is us turning our tin potness, our smallness, into an advantage to engage people and to generate revenue. So if these people who sort of don't have their heads around that and just want to see Australia win, and who normally watch the Wallabies and the Socceroos and the Matildas, if they're suddenly taking notice of our team and getting angry at Payne Haas, then it's also a victory for our game, in my view. Okay, Frank Burge, it's his birthday today. One of the pioneers of rugby league in Australia. He was born in 1894. Going through the birthdays, we do that every day. Ian Verinder, who was a journo that I worked with at AAP, and that's the only Ian Verinder I know, but he also played for South Sydney in the early days, and he was born in 1929, died in 2012, so I'm going to wish him happy birthday anyway, even though it's the wrong Ian Verinder. Let's go. Graeme O'Grady, remember him from Newtown days. He is still with us, and hopefully for many years to come. 72 today, happy birthday. Let's go for it. Steve Hampson, former Steelers fullback, England and Great Britain, great. 64 today, happy birthday, Hampo. Matt Adamson, once of this parish, was going to be involved in the London Broncos, but is not there. He's not here anymore. Gary Heverington says he's still looking around for sponsors and stuff. 53 today. Happy birthday. Robbie Beckett, Australian Nines winger. There you go. There's an obscure stat. But of Penny Panthers, 53 today. Paul Gallen, now a pugilist and radio commentator, heard here on rugbyleague.com. 44 today. Still going down. Birthdays. Anyone else that I'm aware of? No. Zach Fulton, who's plays for Bradford. He's only 24 today. There you go. Happy birthday to young Zach. So this show, there's plenty of stuff to keep us busy. There's a massive game tomorrow night in Super League. It's Wigan at home to Hull KR, and you're going to hear from Wigan coach Matty Peet and his star forward Sam Walters, who's got a great story to tell about hyperbaric chambers. I won't give it up. Also, Krisnan Inu yesterday, assistant coach at Salford. He spoke for the first time about his relationship with the controversial owners of the club and what he thinks the future holds for them and for the club. So we're going to have all of that, all that stuff in full. We're also going to hear from the Mole, Tony Adams, and a few other bits and pieces. Give you a rundown of what's happening this weekend on the station. A bit of signing news, and we'll also preview that if we get time, because sometimes we run out of time, but there is a big NRL game coming up in the coming hours. It's Penrith at home at Combank Stadium to the Melbourne Storm. So we're going to go through the team news and the weather and all that sort of stuff. So, but this is Good Morning League fans. My name is Steve Mascord, and more after this. Massive game in Super League on Friday night at the Brick Community Stadium, a sold-out clash between the only two teams who could win the League Leaders' Shield, probably, which is competition leaders Hull KR visiting defending champions Wigan. And the Wigan coach, Matty Peet, it must be a big game because he was extremely circumspect in his comments at his midweek media conference. Two players who might come back into his side from injury are Bevan French and Luke Thompson, and he would say only that it's too early to say whether they will be playing. You'll get an indication of how tense he was from this little Q&A that I engaged in with him during the media conference.
Obviously, the hype around the game is that the League Leaders' Shield is on the line and that it's out of reach if you lose. And does it feel like a final to you? Does silverware come into your mind at all this far out from the playoffs?
Feels like a high-quality league game.
And Willie said last week that their performance wouldn't have been good enough to beat you. How do you feel about your most recent performance and whether that is up, that would be a high enough standard to beat them?
It's just impossible comment to make.
And is there any more sort of detail aside from too early to say on those two fellas, Thompson and French?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Matty Peet did make a little bit further of a comment about the League Leaders' Shield later in the media conference, but still didn't say much.
It'd be difficult to do it if we don't win this. But really, it's not something. Truthfully, we've just spoke about trying to perform, and I'm sure KR the same. Like everyone knows when it come these kind of games, this end of the year, everyone's aware of what's at stake. You're just looking for improvements.
On rugbyleague.com. Welcome. And this is the time of the week where we have a chat to Sydney-based veteran, and I don't say that insultingly because I'm a veteran too, reporter Tony the Mole Adams. Tony, how are you?
Yeah, doing well, Steve. Winter's slowly but surely coming to an end here in Sydney. So that means when winter ends, final starts. So it's getting that time of year. It's
sweltering here in London. Like people say, oh, it's not really heat. You don't know heat, but it's a different sort of heat here. It's very dry and stifling. It's a bit different than back in Oz. So it's very warm here. But that also means, Tony, the changing the seasons. It means the Kangaroo Tour is getting closer. First tests here in London at Wembley, and tickets, the second and third tests are already sold out. And the first item in the column we're going to talk about today is about the fullback position. Reece Walsh is a bit of a rock star in our game, but he's not. His place isn't 100% secure in the number one jersey for Australia.
Yeah, that's right. And he's probably got Dylan Edwards and maybe even James Tedesco, if not ahead of him. They're probably going to take a third fullback in the party. But the way he's going, Walsh, he's very hot-cold at the moment, as are the Broncos. And Ryan Pappenhausen's been far more consistent. He's actually out this week with a HIA, Pappenhausen, but his form's better. He's more consistent, makes less errors. Walsh's been making a lot of mistakes the last couple of years, and teams tend to live or die by his mistakes. So I think if Kevy Walters takes a safer option, it could be Pappenhausen.
And Tony, you've also had a stab at the most irreplaceable player in the NRL. Pray tell us, who is that and why?
Well, you look at the Warriors, and as soon as Luke Metcalf went down, things went pear-shaped. They've tried Tanner Boyd at halfback. They've tried Tamari Martin at halfback, but they've lost their last 3 games. They're no longer in the top 4, and they're sliding fast. And this week, Tamari Martin's out, so they've gone back to Boyd. There was Mal, they were going to play Nathan Cleary's younger brother, Jet, but they've decided not to, but he's killing it in the New South Wales Cup. So, we love talking about young players. Well, he's one to watch, Jet Cleary. He'll be a first grader in the next 12 months or so.
Now, Tony, you're not just a pretty face, because you've figured out that Alex Johnson's on the way to being the most prolific try scorer in premiership history. But if for one factor, he might already be there. I hadn't thought of this, Tony. To fill the listeners and viewers in.
Well, on the weekend, Latrell Mitchell came back for Souths in what we called the Spoon Bowl between Souths and the Gold Coast, the 2 lowest paid teams in the league. And Johnson scored 2 tries and Souths scraped over the line, and both tries were try assists to Latrell. Now, Latrell's only played 10 games, so you can imagine if Latrell had played another 10 or so games, Alex Johnson might have another 20 tries to his name and be well and truly ahead of poor old Kenny Irvine. So, yeah, just an interesting little sidelight to this record that's looming and everyone's talking about over here.
I'm absolutely astounded by that scoreline at the weekend. I was watching the Roosters and the Dolphins. I just don't know how it got to 60. And lots of records were broken, but there's one that didn't get reported. And the Roosters are a foundation club. They've played in every season in the premiership. And this is quite a record that they set on the weekend.
Yeah, it's the first time in 90 years that they've scored over 60 points away from home. So quite a feat by the Roosters. I went back and had a look at what happened in 1935. Canned beer was invented, so that's quite a significant year for you, Steve, I would imagine. And a few other things happened. Hitler brought in the Nuremberg laws, which were rather nasty things back in the day, but yeah, just goes to show you how long ago this was that the Roosters scored 60 points away from home, and against the Dolphins, yeah, a major shock.
Now, Tony, the Dragons are sort of seem to be rebuilding somewhat. They seem to have some good days ahead of them, I would say, but you're not a fan of their decision to let Jack de Belin go.
Yeah, I think they might regret it. They've got a lot of good young forwards, but not a lot of experience up front. And de Belin's a definite leader in that club. And I think he could have really shown the young blokes the way. But they've decided to let him go. And, he's gone to Parramatta. They might regret it. But stories come out just in the last few hours that they're looking at Big Tino Fasawinali. So, maybe that was the plan all along. Who knows?
And Isaiah Yeo, co-captain at the Panthers, and a player who they, in the past, have struggled to fill in for when he's been missing. But you've written in your column, you think they've found the answer to that problem.
Yeah, well, Yo's probably going to miss another game or two before the finals. I think Ivan Cleary wants to rest him. But Isaiah Papali'i did a great job filling in for him on the weekend. Scored a try, had a hand in a couple. Similar type of player, very smart with the ball. Gives the outside backs and Nathan Cleary time and space. And he's doing the job. For a bloke who was previously a second rower, he might have a career as a lock. And lock's become quite an important spot in the NRL these days. You look at blokes like Isaiah Yeo and what an influence they have over teams.
And finally, you're saying that Jamal Fogarty, who is very well spoken, I must say, every time I hear him interviewed on the radio, he's really impresses me. But you're saying that it's his timing of his departure from Canberra is sad. Why do you say that?
Yeah, well, Ethan Strange scored a hat trick on the weekend. It was a breakout game from him against Manly. He's always been a good player, but I think he really came of age. He gave poor old Daly Cherry Evans a bath, just palmed him off twice as if he wasn't there to score. But I think him and Fogarty, they form this great. They're foils for each other, shall we say? Strange is young, raw. Fast, does everything off the cuff. Fogarty's older, more experienced, an organiser with a kicking game. And I think they've been the real secret of Canberra's success this year, just the way they feed off each other. And with Fogarty going, it'll be interesting to see if they have the same influence next year, Canberra, that they have this year. Because let's not forget, they were wooden spoon favourites, and the moment they're leading the comp, and everyone keeps waiting for them to fall, but they keep winning games.
That's it for this episode of Tony the Mole Adams' YouTube channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And our flagship show, Midweek Scoops, is back tomorrow. Tony, talk to you then.
Sounds good, Steve.
Welcome back to rugbyleague.com. I hope you're enjoying our mix of classic rock and rugby league chat. Now, players have been going to hyperbaric chambers to speed up their recovery from injury for decades, but the 6'7" Wigan forward Sam Walters, he's got a slightly different story to tell. Sam made his comeback from a broken leg last Friday against Warrington and will be replacing Junior December in the team that takes on Hull KR in one of the most eagerly anticipated clashes of the year. Probably the most eagerly anticipated clash of the year. This Friday at the Brick Community Stadium. But even though Sam is feeling better and is back in active duty, he liked the hyperbaric chamber so much that he's going to keep going. So have a listen to this chat I had with him during Wigan's weekly media opportunity this week. He's used all sorts of treatment on his leg, mostly off his own bat. And as I said, just because he's back playing again doesn't mean he's waving goodbye to that little enclosed space.
Mate, is it boring sitting in a hyperbaric chamber 4 times a week for 90 minutes?
Yeah, can be. But I'm committed now, so I feel like I'm going to see it for.
So you're going to keep doing it, are you?
Yeah, did one yesterday. Going to do one after the game as well. I'm just going to go to 3 a week now, but apparently when you get to 60 sessions, that's like the gold standard. So I want to get to that and see where I'm at then.
Mate, I'm pretty sure most people, none of us, and most of the people reading or listening have never been in a hyperbaric chamber. Is it a small space? What's the process?
It's a bit like a submarine. That's what I'd describe it as, like a shell. You just sit there with a mask on. It's not too bad. We've got a TV in there as well, so that keeps me occupied. But yeah.
Does it feel different to the outside world? Does it feel any different? Or?
Yeah, so the pressure in there is like minus something, and then obviously when you breathe with the mask on, it makes it a bit harder, so you really have to get all the intercostal muscles working in your stomach and stuff like that. Obviously it's pure oxygen under pressure, but there's loads of benefits for it. Like there's even been benefits for it helping with concussion and stuff like that.
So next year when you're 100% healthy, there's nothing wrong with you, you're still going to go in 3 times a week, are you? Or you make that decision?
Yeah, I'm still going to go in twice a week. I feel like it's just in my routine now. Do you know what I mean? And I'm grateful for the people down there for helping me, and obviously I've got a good connection with them now, and
and they want me to be like at the top of my game and injury free. So I feel like why not use the services that they're offering me?
You'll be able to join the Navy when you retire. Be a submarine.
Yeah.
And then those other things that you are doing, like the ultrasounds and all that sort of stuff, is that your initiative, or was that someone in the club recommended that treatment to you? What's the background of that?
There's just sort of research around the best things for bone healing. Obviously, Jack, the head of physio here, and myself. I was even trying to do sound therapy as well. So you just sit in a dark room with your earphones on, and there's a certain frequency. It's like 430 hertz, which apparently stimulates cell repairing. So yeah, I tried everything really. But as I said, I enjoyed it. I wasn't playing rugby, so might as well go 100%.
On the surface, no big surprise that Coach Paul Rowley didn't do the midweek media conference at Salford Red Devils this week. Paul Rowley has been linked recently to a move to Castleford, although there's been no official comment from any party. And of course, the Red Devils are going through a really, really tough time with their financial problems and the chaos around the ownership change there. But the assistant coach, Krisnan Inu, the former New Zealand international, he was the connection between the new owners and the club. And it's a subject that's been danced around when Krisnan has done media so far this year, but it's something he addressed directly during this week's media conference, and he was very strident in his defence of the owners, Saya Kali'i and Curtis Brown. Let's have a listen.
Well, it's what they can say, I think. I think there's a few things that they can and can't say legally. So if that's all they can provide and minute, I think that's something's better than nothing. Obviously, it's taken a bit longer than the fans expected, but like I just said 2 seconds ago, something's better than nothing. I speak to them here and there when there's importance to obviously the club and what's needed. So, well, obviously there's a lot needed at this time, and I know that they're working hard to obviously get things sorted for the club in the future. Yeah, I've known Saya. I can't even remember how far back when. So yeah, I've known these boys for a while. Well, how I see it, if they didn't come, I think we would have fell apart a long time ago, which I think that's no surprise to anyone. Yeah, well, their intentions have always been for the club, for the people and the community. So that has never changed from the people I've known for all these years. So if you're going off my character, they're the same type of people that if you're part of the circle, you're the people we look after. So I don't see any change in that. Yeah, patience could be the word. I might not be the word. It might be the word, but obviously there's a lot of frustration and everyone's in different positions. But at the same time, when the media, I can point you guys out in that too. So when the media sort of keep throwing punches at our club, sort of hurts everyone, not just the players. So they're two humans as well. Everyone keeps naming them and trying to put them on, put their heads on sticks and under the fire and whatnot. So I see them working hard, but obviously the fans don't see it. What I see they're trying to do for the club is massive, and like you said, patience might be the word, but at the same time, there is a lot of frustration, and when people start talking about people getting paid late and whatnot, yeah, we're all a part of that, making it like I'm no different to the other staff. So yeah.
And in light of those quite stark and whatever you think of them, honest comments from Krisnan Inu, I asked him if he had the opportunity to address directly fans who are planning a protest during the game against Wakefield on the weekend, what he would say to them.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I said, everyone deals with the frustration. There's a lot of things that I know that I can't speak about. There's a lot of things that they obviously feel that I don't. Everyone's in different positions, but I don't know, as fans, and I love our fans. They're real passionate, they're real supportive, and as a player, I said it was second to none. As a player, now that I'm part of the coaching staff, I still feel that link to them as well, and I still do my part as a staff member and as assistant coach and as a Salford lad. So I feel for them at the same time, but there's a lot of things that, like you said, there are some answers that need to be presented to them, which I think will be happening before Sunday. So I don't know if that protest, I can't say if it's right or wrong, but at the same time, I think there will be, between them and the owners, I think there will be something done between now and Sunday.
You're on rugbyleague.com. If it's your first time tuning in, I hope you're enjoying what you hear, a bit of classic rock and a lot of rugby league. And we don't just talk about rugby league during the week, and we don't just play some fantastic shows. At the weekend, we have broadcast rights to some big games. Let me tell you what's coming up this weekend. Thursday night, August 14, I'll be travelling up to Halliwell Jones Stadium at Warrington and bringing you all the action as the Wire host Catalans. The next morning, our friends at 2GB, Continuous Call, they'll be bringing you the NRL game between Sydney Roosters and Canterbury. Of course, it's only morning if you're in Europe, if you're in the Americas or somewhere else, or Asia. Be a different time of the day. We are a global radio station. And then on Saturday morning, a doubleheader of the NRL, which we do every week. Brisbane versus the Dolphins from Suncorp Stadium, and South Sydney taking on Parramatta at Allianz. And then on Sunday, the one NRL game early. It's North Queensland versus Newcastle from the Queensland Country Bank Stadium. And then the great Mick Gledhill will be travelling down to Doncaster to bring you the Doncaster-Featherstone game from the championship. So there we go, 3 different competitions and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. This is rugbyleague.com. Okay, very quickly before the news, it's 12 degrees and dry at CommBank Stadium, kicking off in under an hour. It's Penrith at home to Melbourne, and the teams are out. Ashley Klein is the referee. The Penny Panthers from fullback Dylan Edwards, Thomas Jenkins, Isaac Tungo, Casey McLean, Brian To'o, Blaze Talangi, Nathan Cleary captain, Moses Leota, Mitch Kenny, Lindsay Smith, Luke Garner, Liam Martin, Isaiah Papali'i. The bench is Brad Schneider, Liam Henry, Matt Eisenhuth and Scott Sorensen. And on the side of the Melbourne Storm, from fullback it's Cameron Munster, Grant Anderson, Nick Meaney, Marion Seve, Xavier Coates, Jonah Pezzett and Tyron Wishart in the halves, and the forwards Stefano Oitukamanu, Harry Grant captain, Josh King, Sean Blore, Eli Katoa, Trent Liero, Joe Chan, Alec McDonald, Tui Kamikamitha, and Ati Lasati. So there you go. NRL, second part of the Indigenous round. As I said, kicking off in just 51 minutes. Okay, we've got to go. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning League fans. Next up, we've got Costo with the news.